Welcome to Wednesday, June 9th, 2021. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. It's being brought to you by Chugwater Chili, the gourmet spice of Western life. Don't forget, the 35th annual Chugwater Chili Cook-Off is coming up soon, June 19th, in Chugwater, Wyoming. Ranch rodeo, live music, chili tasting, of course, and more. Visit chugwaterchilicook-off.org for more information. Well, it's the same pattern, but different day, and that's really how things are going to roll here for the next several days. It is going to continue to be extremely warm for early June. There's going to be less severe weather today, but severe weather does return on Thursday to some areas, and it was a wild night last night in parts of southeastern Wyoming with a thunderstorm. We'll talk about that here in a moment. Elsewhere, hot and dry weather will continue along and west of the divide. So for you western slope and western areas of Wyoming podcast viewers, as well as anybody in Utah or eastern Idaho and Arizona, it's going to continue to be hot and dry here for a little bit longer west of the divide. There's just not going to be any good moisture available for a while. We're also going to talk a little bit more about that moisture with the North American monsoon. Now, we put together a YouTube video at the Day Weather Video Podcast channel on YouTube, and we're going to go into an in-depth discussion about the North American monsoon. It's too long for this podcast format, but you'll want to go to our YouTube channel and check out more on the North American monsoon. Now, I want to review yesterday a little bit. Yesterday, we showed you this map, and we showed you this little low, didn't look like much, that was going to go up north and east like this, across Wyoming and into the Dakotas during the day, and we were concerned about severe weather. And certainly it did develop, although it developed a little bit further west than expected. This was the severe weather outlook for yesterday. You see this yellow area? Well, this yellow area ended up being further west, right along here, and that's where we saw the big blow up of some very heavy rain and hail and some damaging winds with some thunderstorms in parts of northern Colorado, but especially southeastern Wyoming. Just ask the folks in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Look at this, 2.37 inches of rain, which was a record with the thunderstorms yesterday in the Cheyenne area. A lot of hail with that as well. There's a lot of sad gardeners, that's for sure. Cheyenne has already surpassed, for 2001, its annual precipitation that fell in 2020. But that's, again, that is an island of wetness in a sea of dryness elsewhere across the western United States. So it doesn't take much this time of year to set off some severe weather. Today, this is what the weather pattern looks like. We have what we would call highly amplified pattern. We've got this trough along the west coast pumping up a big area of hot, high pressure, desert heat, strong high pressure here. We're in a southwest flow. Notice, however, we don't have any real significant disturbance riding along. You know what this is right here? That is the system that triggered the severe weather yesterday evening, moving up into Canada and moving on out. So there's today a little bit of a gap in these upper level disturbances coming up from the southwest. And this is what today's outlook is for thunderstorms. Severe weather going to be more along the U.S.-Canadian border. And we've got some showers and thunderstorms in an arch that will go like this, but you can see it's not as widespread as yesterday. However, tomorrow, see this? Here's another one of these little waves coming up north and east out of that trough, and it's going to be producing severe weather up here. It's a very similar pattern. Again, as we talked many times in this podcast, weather patterns repeat themselves, and so what you're going to have is another little wave coming up through. It's going to travel more north and west than the last one. So it'll be the northern areas, and you can see it right here in the severe weather outlook for Thursday. The Dakotas, eastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming, parts of Nebraska. This is right now the bullseye, especially right here for the risk of a heavy thunderstorm activity Thursday afternoon and evening after a relatively quiet day today. And then as you get into Friday, well, that disturbance moves out, and you can see the whole western United States does not have much in the way of any significant thunderstorm activity as we head into Friday. And this will probably be true heading on into the weekend. In fact, here is the weekend. Look at this high pressure ridge. Now, this is not unusual at all. Okay, it's deeper into June now. You're going to start summer, so you expect the desert heat to build, and it will. And we're going to talk about this in our YouTube video about the North American monsoon. For the monsoon season to get started, it has to get hot here. It has to get hot in the deserts to get that started. And certainly that's what's going to be developing here by the weekend and into early next week. Precipitation-wise, you can see that wedge of dryness that continues to come into the western slope, and the ring of better rain chances will be where that moisture is going to be in that instability as those disturbances move on through. But this is through Sunday, so thunderstorm activity going to favor the northern and eastern areas. If you're along and west of the Continental Divide, you're kind of out of the luck in terms of any good chances of moisture. Over the next week, these are the average temperatures over the next 7 days across the Intermountain West and the Western High Plains. Look at all the red and orange. This means continued above average temperatures for the next week. No significant cool down anywhere, so the heat and dryness will continue in many areas. If you've been lucky enough to get rain out of some of these showers and thunderstorms, that rain will help you get through the next 5 to 7 days. But again, these heavier rain events, like what happened in Cheyenne last night, are more isolated events than widespread events. This is what the next 7 days looks like with precipitation. All that gray means below average precipitation amounts forecasted. Green show patches of where maybe there's some better rain chances over the next 7 days. But overall, the western United States still more dry than wet. Again, go to the Day Weather YouTube channel and check out our video on the North American monsoon. And we plan through the course of the summer season and as we go through the year to do more of these videos where we need more time to explain some of the features that affect the western United States weather patterns. And you can go to the Day Weather Video YouTube channel. Don't forget to use Chugwater Don at checkout to get 20% off your Chugwater Chili order at chugwaterchili.com. And don't forget, June 19th is the Chugwater Chili Cook-Off in Chugwater.